FFBE fan favorite characters, Rain and Fryevia, are here in War of the Visions. Thank you guys for spending a little bit of your time here once again today as we go over these two new characters, both very powerful, some of them overhyped, some of them underhyped, but we're going over them nonetheless. So we're gonna have an experimental build here, an example build on top of that. So let's get right into it for you guys. Thank you once again for the support via Patreon as well as YouTube channel memberships. You guys help out a ton, and let's get right into it here for you guys. We're going over Rain first, who is going to be a very powerful magic tank with a little bit of damage, quite a bit of damage depending on how you build him. That's why he's got some flexible builds. We'll go over one of those, like I said, at the end here, but let's go over the character here first and foremost. His TMR is Rain's Clothes here, which is going to be clothing, obviously clothing TMR, so it's going to take you up your armor slot. 496 HP, 14 spirit here, and the ability on it is the Guardian's Fighting Spirit, which is actually a very powerful ability. It increases the spirit of the people around you, right, and yourself by 10 to 25 based on what level you have it. So if you have it maxed out, 25 spirit is a lot of spirit, and you'll see exactly how much spirit he can get up to with a build based around this Trustmaster. And it's very, 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 very powerful. Obviously, when you're fighting anyone doing some sort of magic damage, which can range from an actual magic spell, or it could be, you know, like a spell blade, right? A slashing attack that does magic damage that like Ramza and Fryevia have. So very powerful TMR there, and his master ability, speaking of spirit, gives him 15 spirit. So far, most of the tanks in the game that we've had access to weren't really spirit focused, right? We had Engelbert and you know, Mine, and then we had like Whisper, who can sort of do whatever thing based on her resistances. But Rain just is all about spirit. He's got good resistances too. So let's get into his other stuff. He is Knight of Grand Shelt, or Grand Sheltonite, whatever you want to call it, and then Red Mage as well as Normal Knight. He can wear Great Swords, which he comes with his own UR Great Sword, which has fantastic stats for him. Just got to get to the floor 15 of the tower, and you got to level it up. He also can equip hats, clothing, and accessories. His stats here, pretty powerful. He's fairly chunky in the HP, right? He's nothing super crazy like Engelbert is with massive HP, but he's got some other decent stats here, and you'll go down through here and he's got some nice elemental resistances and some actual resistances that make him different than other characters. He also has 15% HP in his board, and you can see get some pretty decent stats, but nothing super crazy. We'll get through that with the build though. You'll see exactly how he's going to end up there, but he does have neutral slashing resist. He is 5% resistant to piercing damage. He is minus 30% to striking damage, 15% missile resist, and 25% magic resist. So not only is he pretty good against the magic damage dealers because he's got very, 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 very high spirit, he also has a little bit of resistance to missile characters as well, which can help him out. He also has 20% resistant to ice and 10% weak to water there. So let's get into his skills here. We have some base support skills here, the different passives he can pick up. You have up to 15 spirit, up to 15 initial starting AP. If you want to be more aggressive out the gate, you can take this one. You also have intensifying power for 30% bonus magic. So you want to start with big AP, big magic damage, you can do that as well. You have divine protection for debuff resistance. You have mage's protection for more magic resistance, and then you have HP up for a little bit of extra HP, 15% there. His counters, he has a counter attack that just counters, right? We've seen this sort of thing before, counter slash. He has the same sort of thing there, slashing damage. He has a magic reflex, so you have a chance to dodge magic attacks coming in on you. And you also have sword guard, which we've seen before from the Knight class, which gives you the ability to mitigate any damage coming in, physical or magical, by 30% there. So very solid options here. A lot of the players out there are going to probably take Sword Guard. It's the most prominent one, most catch-all, right? Mitigates physical damage, mitigates magic damage. But if you're going to be up against strictly just magic damage, whether it's a PvE encounter or a PvP team that's just all magic damage characters, we're getting more magic damage characters in the future too, you might take Magic Reflex because they have the same proc rate, 20%, and if it's all magic damage coming in, you take none versus 30% less. So very, very solid options for you there. His main job here, Grand Sheltonite, he has Fire, Power Break, Blazing Physique, Soul Prominence, and Frederika, no matter what subjob you have equipped on him. Fire is just fire magic attack, so it's an actual magic attack that has a 141% multiplier there. Pretty long range, typical magic spell for range there for you there. We have Power Break, which is 121% multiplier, which gives a 43% attack down for 3 turns if you can get in melee range of somebody and use that. We have Blazing Physique, which gives you ice resist of 25% for 3 turns as well. So good against Medina, good against Fryevia, things of that nature. It also makes you immune to Poison, Blind, and Petrify for a couple turns. And then he has Soul Prominence, which is going to be his big slashing attack that does slashing attack right there. So 165% damage there for you with Soul Prominence. And that's going to be a 2-range skill. 20 AP, and then we have Frederika, 185% mod, AoE damage there, 4 squares away, and then it has a 1 square splash there for you guys. So that's going to be his big hitting skill if you're doing magic damage with him, right, which his sword does have on it, etc. Frederika is going to be a big hit skill for you there. And then the things that set him apart, guys, are going to be the 2 Knight of Grandshell skills. So a lot of you guys out there are going to be using Knight of Grandshell as his sub job because you get Astral Guard here, which reduces damage taken by 30% for 3 turns, and then also gives you 12 threat or 12 hate, which is going to be his taunt of choice. So he's going to start with this skill, costs 46 TP. So he's going to use this skill, and it's a good thing that it costs that much TP too, because you're going to get 23 AP. So you'll be able to start out with Astral Guard. If you want to go ahead and put on initial AP up, you get 15 extra initial AP, and you'll get 23 from casting Astral Guard. You get the damage mitigation, you get the taunt, and then you're going to have a lot of AP to just start casting Fire and Frederika and Power Break, or the next skill here, Undermine, which is a melee skill, 121 mod here, slashing fire damage with a 39% attack, 39% magic break, as well as -20 defense and spirit to the target as well. So if you're using physical damage characters, magic damage characters, doesn't really matter. You're going to do bonus damage to the enemies that you're fighting, and whoever you hit Undermine with is going to be doing less damage back to you because it's got both the attack and the magic break there. So 2 very powerful skills. Astral Guard alone would be worth making him Knight of Grandshell for, just because of that big taunt with the damage mitigation. It sets him apart from all the other tanks in the game right now too, because it means you do not have to use Vow of Love, because he's just going to use Astral Guard to give you that threat right away anyway. So this allows you to use whatever vision card you want on him. You can give him extra defense and spirit, you can give him extra damage mitigations, you can do whatever it is that you want. You do not have to use Vow of Love on him, which makes him super flexible. But his other skills that you can use here, we have Red Mage, gives you Kira, Fire, Asuna, Sleep, and Jamming Thrust as well. So if you want to do more damage with him, more efficiently, more effectively, you can go for Jamming Thrust here. It is a 200% mod, only costs 24 AP, and it has 6 uses. So if you are in a PvE or PvP situation, you don't want to use him as a tank, you can get in there, max out his magic, right? Give him initial AP up, give him the magic % up, and just start spamming out that Jamming Thrust whenever you have enough AP. It is going to be his hardest hitting and most AP to multiplier ratio skill, right? We have 185 mod on Frederika up here for 30 AP, or you're going to have a 200 mod for 24 AP. Frederika does do AoE damage, but Jamming Thrust is instant and costs less AP, so that's going to be something for you guys to think about there. If you want to use him as more of a breaker type character, right, a more support type character, you can go with Knight, right? He gets Power Break, Arm Break, Magic Break, Speed Break, and AP Break here. But remember, Undermine already gives you magic down, it already gives you attack down, right? And you also get defense and spirit down from Undermine. So Grandshell Knight could just be better for the support anyway. But you also get Speed Break here with Knight. So if you're trying to do a raid or some sort of boss, and you want to do speed down to the enemy, so you make it easier for you to chain on him before the boss gets their turn, he does have that as an option. And then AP Break is also really good against mages in both PvP, although the AI won't really prioritize AP Break. Maybe if you're in the RTA match battle PvP, or if you're using him against a bunch of mages in a PvE encounter, you can just literally delete all of their AP and they can't cast magic spells anymore because you took all their AP. This can hit for up to like 200 damage depending on what character you're using it on there. So very powerful stuff there. And then obviously we have Shining Nova, which is his limit burst here, 200 times mod at max level with a 38% fire resist and peril for 3 turns to that enemy as well, and it costs 49 AP. So if you give him initial AP up, you give him the ability of Astral Guard from Knight of Grandshell, right? We just talked about how much AP you can start with. He starts with a decent amount of AP due to the passive, due to Astral Guard giving him 23. You can get in there, you can go ahead, use your limit burst, give him the fire and peril, then maybe hit him with a fire spell or Frederika and just do some big damage while he's tanking everything, which is pretty cool there. So that's going to be his stats there, his skills, and then his skill tree. There's nothing really you need to like crazily avoid. In my opinion, you could avoid Blazing Physique. It's the last here. one right here. In case you just always want him to start with the taunt, if you start with Blazing Physique, you may, not sure how the AI works, but if you want to avoid that, he might always cast Astral Guard. But if you want to avoid the possibility of him not using Astral Guard and instead using Blazing Physique, you could just get rid of Blazing Physique. Don't use that, don't learn that until later on, and that's going to be pretty much the only thing that you could go out of your way to avoid for Rain. Now, for a small sample build here, we're going to be using Rain here. And we have obviously his sword here from the tower. We have Alexandrite Ring. We have his own TMR. He is maxed out. He's 99. We're using Shiva card here. Or not Shiva card, Shiva Esper here. And we have the Shiva Esper built up for some Wind Killer and things of that nature. Just a weird build. I think we were using this for a different character a while ago. But you can use Shiva. It gives him decent stats here. Gives him some Wind Killer. You can use him as like an anti-wind character if you want to do that. Which gives him anti-Lucia, things of that nature, right? Gives him some wind resist as well. And you're going to notice that we also are using the Snow White Guard card, which is going to give you 284 HP, but also gives you minus 15% HP, gives you 76 attack. It also gives you 76 magic, so it's a pretty decently tanky card and gives you a little bit of magic as well. It also increases the critical hit damage of your party by 18% there. It also gives you 15 slash and missile res. We're also going ahead with Intensifying Power and Spirit Up. You can use whatever sort of counter you want, so you can use like Sword Guard, Master Level 1, Knight of Grand Shell. And we're going to end up with a character with 4,880 HP, so pretty decently bulky, like a bruiser. He starts with 90 AP, okay, due to all the cool stuff that he has. So he starts with a lot of AP, 357 attack, which is irrelevant, 6 defense, 682 magic, which isn't bad considering he's still like a bulky tank, 54 spirit. That's a ton of spirit, 73 agility, 258 dex, and 234 luck. Obviously, he has 3 movement and 1 jump. He has minus 4 fire resist because we have Shiva on him. You can change this if you want, right? Get rid of some of this wind killer or magic attack up, get some more fire res if you do want to that. Maybe you want to get rid of this accuracy, get rid of this evasion. You could do things of that nature. Throw that around there. Get rid of that fire resist. So now he has 5% fire res, 20% ice res, 10% wind res. He's still weak to water by 10% there. 15 slashing res, 5 piercing res. Still weak to punching res, strike res by 30. He has 30 missile resistance and 25% magic res, and he has 15 slashing attack up. This is from his tower weapon, which once you max it up, you can get it up there. You are going to have to use seals. It doesn't just auto max out on its own, but you don't have to +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. You just have to level it up and awaken it. Gives him 15 slash attack, 170 magic, and has a 25% chance to decrease defense by 20 for 3 turns when you attack, which gives him a little bit of extra utility. Nothing super crazy though. But we are running also the Alexandrite Ring. This one's +5, but if you just max it out right, you'll get the 20% accuracy there and 5% extra all resist, which we just talked about all these resists being what they are. Those don't count the Alexandrite Ring, so add 5 to that. So it'd be 10 fire res, 25 ice res, 15 wind res, -5 water res, and then 5% resistance to everything else out there. So if you want to make him tankier, gets missile resistance as well, you really want to go in there, have someone with a Cleansing the Mind card in your party, you'll go up to 45% missile resistance. So pretty strong abilities there for this sort of sample build. He can do a lot of cool things. This isn't the only build. I will have a build guide coming out for him where we go over all the different stuff you can use. I kind of probably spent a little bit too much time here, so let's go into the next character. Let's go into the highly contested Fryevia right now. A lot of people are calling her garbage. A lot of people are calling her really good. I don't think anyone's really overhyping her. I think a lot of people are actually underlooking how strong this character is because she's not the character that people assumed that she was going to be. A lot of people thought she was just going to come in and just like an FFBE be like the ice version of Orlando, right? Big long range ice attacks doing hybrid damage, some of it physical, some of it magical, all this. That's not what she is. She's a hybrid character, and she does look very boring on paper, but her stats tell a different story. You'll see it when we get into the builds, right? We just talked about Rain. You'll see the full picture with the sample build here with Fryevia. She is a main job Spellblade, a green mage, and white mage, so very sort of lackluster, very boring looking jobs there, which a lot of people saw that. A lot of people also saw some of her base stats being really low. That is not the case at all. That was a partial data mine, didn't have everything there in that initial post, so be wary of that. She does use swords. She also has access to armor, helms, and accessories, so that's another thing. She's like a magey type character with white mage and things of that nature, but she gets to wear the heavy equipment, which is a big deal when it comes to tankiness and survivability and reducing damage from a lot of the things that she's weak to. Her TMR is the Florid Hairpin, which is an accessory, 322 HP, 5 defense, and 10 spirit, and 6 critical avoid. So a lot of tanky stats on this actually, which helps out the sort of character she actually is. She's like a tanky bruiser character. She's not a tank, she's not a healer, she's a mix of all of them, and that's where her new hybrid nature comes from. She can do a lot of things really well in War of the Visions. Her TMR skill is Glacial Mastery. When maxed out, it gives you 70% attack, 70% magic for 1 turn, as well as 25% wind killer, which is another thing that she does do very well. She's very anti-wind, so she doesn't rely on anti-wind, but if she comes up against a wind character, she is putting you down in the ground. It's happening, you're gone. You're just gone if that happens. So her master ability as well, 10% HP, 10% magic resistance. So let's go over her stat spread here. Her stats are incredibly high for what sort of character she is. Remember, she's Spellblade, Green Mage, White Mage, so like a bunch of mage archetypes, but she's got insane HP, 1,332 just from leveling up your character to 99. If you take your jobs to 99 as well, so she's going to go up to 1,597 HP. She also has 97 HP in the board. So we're talking about like 3,000 and something HP without any gear, any espers, anything of that nature. She's got a lot of health. A lot of health without even trying to build health in a lot of situations there. She also has a lot of base luck. As you can see, she has 100 base luck from leveling up, and she has another 58 luck from her job skills. So this is a big deal because a lot of characters, like Engelbert has a bunch of luck too. A lot of his luck comes from his board stat. Stats are good, but they don't count for those percentage stat increases, right? If you have like a 20% luck card in your party, or you have a 35% luck card in your party, board stats don't count, whereas base stats do. So she's got 100 luck here, 58 luck here. It's a lot of luck. So she gets to be very accurate and very, very, very dodgy because of the luck. Her total luck is like lower than Engelbert's, but her base luck is super high. You can actually get it up pretty high in conjunction with a lot of stuff, and that's going to play a major role into her build here. Her magic stat for a magey damage dealing character is a little bit lower, but that is offset by her equipment selection. We'll get into that when we get into the builds. Now, as far as elemental resistance goes, she's weak to fire by 10, resists wind by 20, and then her resistance to damage type, she's -5 to slashing, -5 to piercing, -5 to striking, +5 to missile, and +15% to magic. So she's a little bit weak, but unlike other mages who are like -20% to a lot of stuff, she's only weak by a little bit. You can definitely turn the table on that due to her equipment selection. She can equip gold armor and all these other crazy things. She also can be built anti-missile, you can build her anti whatever it is that you want, especially magic. You can build her to 2 things at the same time. So she's got, like, if you think of her like a Whisper-esque character who doesn't have crazy resists, but she has some high resists for one of the stat archetypes, but she's got a lot more HP than Whisper. You'll start to see the pieces of the puzzle fall together. But let's go into her skill selection here, which is going to be the most boring part of the character, but also one of the most influential parts. So Providence of Wind here, 12% wind resistance, 12% magic resist. So very strong for her. Already is anti-wind, already is anti-magic. This plays into one of the parts of the character. Savior's Protection, debuff resistance, but also 12% more magic resistance. So you can make her super anti-magic as well. March of the Saints nullifies Doom, which could actually be a solid strategy for a lot of PvP players in the real-time arena if you're into match battle. Emerald Echo here, buff and debuff duration +1 here. This used to work in a different way. I don't know if it's bugged right now or whatnot, but it used to buff all things by an extra turn, right? Haste and things of that nature. I don't know if it like buffs up TMR abilities or anything of that nature, but right now it seems to specifically work on only green magic. If anyone wants to confirm that down below, that'd be super awesome. But right now it doesn't seem to work on everything. It works differently than it used to. If it does work on all things once again and sometime in the future, you'll be able to buff up her TMR ability to last 2 turns on herself instead of 1 turn, which will also make her even better. But right now, I'm considering this to not work on her TMR because it doesn't, as far as I know right now, and it's still a good TMR. Her counter abilities here, we have Magic Guard, Dispel, Counter, and Regenerator. All of these are actually pretty powerful depending on what it is you're fighting against. If you're up against a bunch of mages, you're going to take Magic Counter. You're going to reduce that damage by 45%, which is an insane amount considering she already has insane magic resist, insane HP for what she is, and all this other crazy stuff. You'll be able to mitigate that damage, which there's not a lot of magic right now, right? We just got Salier, right? We had Medina, but in the future when we have characters like the Earth the Earth, what is it? It's like a magician, the Earth magician, Kilfei or whatever her name is. That's going to be a very powerful and popular character in Guild Wars and in PvP and in Arena and things of that nature. You're also going to have the water calculator as well. I think more and more magicians are going to be, mages are going to be coming out, and so she's going to grow even stronger over time due to how tanky and bulky she is against a lot of different strategies. She also has dispel counter and regenerator, so if you want to dispel all buffs on the enemy when they attack you, take away their attack buff, take away their haste, take away their damage mitigation buffs, their agility buffs, their evasion buffs, things of that nature. She just has a 20% chance of, you hit me, all your stuff's gone. That's going to turn the tables on that battle because they're going to lose all of that stuff. So very strong stuff there. Then you also have the general regenerator, which you may fall back on. 20% chance to just regenerate 10% of her HP every turn, which actually is very powerful on her because you can get like 500 HP every turn just for taking your turn from this passive, because yeah, you're going to have like 5k HP on this character without really trying to build HP on her. Now for main job here, we have Spellblade, Blizzard Blade, Bio Blade, Silence Blade, Blizzaga Blade, Chicken Blade, and Magic Barrier here. So very general run-of-the-mill stuff, but most notably Blizzard Blade and Blizzaga Blade, they do give you Wind Killer. So that's going to be a thing as well, right? She's very, very good against wind. She's anti-wind. A lot of wind units are weak to ice already. This is going to do even more damage to wind units. She's going to absolutely decimate wind units due to her TMR skill, as well as Blizzard and Blizzaga Blade, but that's not the whole reason why she's strong. It's just part of it's one of her gimmicks that she has, but that she's just going to delete wind units. So look out. She's gonna come after those wind units, but she also has Bio Blade, Sleep Blade, and Chicken Blade. So she's got, 175% multipliers, which are actually pretty strong, especially for the AP cost of something like Chicken Blade. It only costs 18 AP, 175% damage mod. Then they all have small little faith procs, right? Chicken Blade can reduce bravery. If that procs and you use this on a physical damage dealer and their bravery goes down by 25, you're cutting their damage down by like 20-ish%. So that's pretty decent there, and it's going to last until the end of the battle. Silence Blade, you hit a mage with this, you inflict the silence for 3 turns, so they're not casting any spells. And then Bio Blade, if that goes off, you're going to be draining them for 15% of their max HP every turn for 3 turns. That's pretty powerful as well, although not overpowered. The secondary effect's really not that big of a deal. If you're looking for a pretty efficient AP cost to damage multiplier, Chicken Blade actually is very, very strong there. It only costs 18 AP, 175% mod. Blizzaga Blade is up there as well, 22 AP, 205% mod as well. Now, a lot of her damage dealing skills here, almost all of them, especially all the ones from Spellblade, they are all very short range, which is her main drawback here. Their largest range from her Spellblade is a range of 2 with Blizzaga Blade, but once she gets in there, she's going to hit you very hard. And this could actually play into a benefit for her in AI-controlled PvP and things of that nature, like Guild War and Arena, and we'll get to that. So her other 2 skills you can unlock by equipping the Spellblade subjob are Resist Magic as well as Taunting Spell. Resist Magic is the 38% magic resistance buff, and Taunting Spell is the 121% multiplier long-range skill. So nothing super high. It does exist. It is still slashing ice damage, and it's going to hit them and give you 12 taunts. So this is a long-range option. The multiplier on it isn't insane, but if you do manage to put a lot of slashing damage up on her, you want a long-range option, maybe in some scenarios, to tag those wind units. Very niche thing that you can do, but remember, her TMR skill does give you that 70% magic buff, right? You're going to get some slashing up from her own weapon. You're going to get some slashing up maybe from a party card. You can get this up to almost a 2 times multiplier, 200% multiplier there. 25% Wind Eater, someone who's weak to slashing damage, and just down they go. So that could be a thing as well, especially if they are naturally weak to ice and you also have a Wind Eater on. So that could be a thing that you could use. A lot of the times though, guys, you're not actually going to take Spellblade for her for a lot of situations. It's just not worth the raw power you can get from some of her other sub jobs. She's not a tank. So I saw a lot of complaints of, why would they make a tank that you need to take their taunting thing on the sub job? It makes her bad. She's not designed to be a tank. She's designed to be a bulky damage dealing character. She's more of like a magic paladin than anything else. You want to give her some sort of fantasy role. She's like a magic paladin, and we'll get to that with her last sub job of white mage. But for green mage, this can probably be her most unused sub job here. We have Bar Blizzard and Bar Blizzara, so only useful against ice enemies. We have D-Shell and D-Protect, which you could use these in raids, things of that nature, for the decreased defense or the decreased spirit. We have Vitalize for the 25% agility buff. And then we have Ruin, which does give her a long range damage dealing option, although it's non-elemental. It's physical, it's not physical damage, it's a magic damage, non-elemental, so it's not using your slashing up or anything of that nature. You could use it, although the range on it is 4. It's really not worth taking green mage most of the time. Most of the time, guys, you actually be taking white mage because she gains a bunch of spells here for both PvE, Guild War, Arena, possibly Tower is another thing that she is very good at. So we have white mage here. We have Asuna to dispel all elements, or ailments, I mean. We have Cura for an AoE cure. We have Cure for a single target cure. We have Protect and Shell. We have Raise. We also have Full Life, and we have Curada. So she's got 3 different cure spells. What this is going to do, it's going to give you a lot of longevity, and it's going to allow her to hang out in the back and abuse in a lot of situations her short range, because as a character who's on white mage in AI scenario, she should be hanging around the back line, giving them Protect, giving them Shell, right? The AI generally likes to prioritize doing damage for these main damage dealing main jobs like Spellblade and Black Mage and things of that nature. But because her range is so short, anytime the AI goes to check to see if she can get in range to do damage, unless those enemies are right up on you, it's going to fail. So what she's going to do is hang out in the back and just cast Protect, cast Shell, cast some cures, and then once she gets in range of the enemy, she's going to have all this AP built up. She's going to drop her Limit Burst, drop Blizzaga Blade, drop this, drop that, drop the other thing, just chain out damage left, right, front, center. It's very, very cool. But this also is unique because she does have full life too, and her having white mage is a pretty big deal in a lot of situations. It makes her really bulky, makes her hard to kill in a lot of situations, gives her a lot of longevity. I mean, she's got 4 casts of Cura, 8 casts of Cure, and 6 casts of Curaga. So you can take her into tower. You can use her as a tank for one of the tower floors or a couple of the tower floors. You can use her to heal like 4 or 5 of the tower floors. You can bring her to green mage and give her Vitalize and D-Shell and Deep Protect and use some more of her damage. She can be like a damage dealing support. So you can use her on a bunch of different tower floors, changing her sub job, heal here, heal there, do some damage, do this, do that, change them out of abilities, change, do some more damage, all this other stuff, and use her in a lot of different ways. And she's got a lot of longevity. And speaking of her Limit Burst, it is the Ice Prison, costs 46 AP, is a 2x mod at max level. It is actual, it's an ice magic attack, so your slashing up doesn't apply to it, anything of that nature. But it also decreases AP consumed by 40% for 3 turns, and it also does have some pretty decent range here. It is a range of 3, but it splashes out AoE, so you can get it to clip out to the 4th range there, which is a lot of the times how she's going to engage on someone in an AI situation, right? They're going to get in range of her Ice Prison. She's going to walk out, drop Ice Prison, right? And now they're 3 or 4 squares apart, which means that next time they go to move and attack, she's going to be able to move up and hit them with Blizzaga Blade. It's going to cost less AP, all this cool stuff. So a lot of cool applications here for her with her skills. Her skill tree, the one thing I would definitely avoid for right now is going to be Raise. So the only thing locked behind Raise is Deep Protect. And the reason you want to skip out on Raise is because for the most white mages, every white mage I've ever used and I've ever seen right now, if you have both Raise and you have full life learned on the same character, they will actually prioritize Raise over full life. And you do not want to do that because full life is infinitely better than Raise. Let's go double check it right now in case you don't know. Raise is a 30% faith chance to revive someone at 20% HP, so it's got a very low rate of raising them and they only come back 20% HP, whereas full life is a 50% faith proc for 100% of their HP. And you will fail a lot of raises, whereas full life, if you have max faith and the target, right, has 50% faith or max faith too, you're gonna have a pretty solid shot at actually raising them up. Whereas with Raise, you're looking at like maybe a 60% shot on any given day to get them back up, and they're only going to get back up at 20% HP. Full life though is very, very powerful, and it prevents you from trying to raise, failing, trying to raise, failing, trying to full life. Hey, I raised somebody, but you've taken 3 turns to do that, so you don't want to take Raise. You want to take just full life, so you're like full life and then do 2 things instead of raise, fail, full life. You can full life and then you can do damage, things of that nature, and come back on that fight. So her last thing that we talked about was the skill tree. Let's go look at a build here real quick for you guys. We have just a generic build here. We're looking at, check it out. So we're using Ice Brand, very powerful, her best weapon by far. This is because not only does it give you the 15 slash up, it gives you the ice attack plus 30. So we're using the Ice Brand, we're using a mithril armor. It doesn't have to be +5. Really the only thing we're looking for here, we're looking for the evasion. You can get 337 HP on it. as well, but her TMR already has 322, so you're gaining a little bit of HP if you decide to max out the HP on the Mithril Armor as well. So this is going to give us 18 dodge here. And then we're also going to be using Tetrasylphlid here in this specific build. We'll have many other builds for Fryevia in her own video, but Tetrasylphlid is going to be built up for wind resistance as well as increased AP, 7% AP, and then a bunch of evasion here. You could also give her like boost critical resist if you want to as well, maybe Earth Killer. You can do that there. So you can use Tetrasylphlid here, a lot of dodge here, a little bit of accuracy, some Earth, all this good stuff, and the AP. Very strong there. So gonna give her a little bit of extra AP starting out. She doesn't get a bunch of starting AP, and we're actually gonna have her hold the Shiva card. So the Shiva card, as you guys know, is a very powerful evasion card. The main problem with the Shiva card is a lot of evasion teams, you can put it on somebody, but it's a magic based card, doesn't have a lot of attack, doesn't have a lot of anything. So whoever you're putting it on, it's kind of like a waste in a lot of scenarios, but since she's a magic character, she holds it very well. The support skills we're putting on with Savior's Protection here, as well as Providence of Wind, and then her counter skill can be whatever, Regenerator, probably Dispel Counter. We're putting her on White Mage, so she's gonna have 4,982 HP. Nowhere in this build are we even trying to build for health. She's 5,000 HP, and if you compare this to the Rain build, she actually has more HP than Rain does, and she's not even tanking. 211 TP, she starts with 39 AP there. She also has 270 attack, 7 defense, 636 magic, 12 spirit, 70 agility, 216 dex, 258 luck, which is quite a bit of luck, 3 movement and 1 jump. She's weak to fire by 10%, resists ice by 0, resists earth by 10, resists wind by a whopping 57%. She's weak to slashing by 5 and piercing by 5. Still, she has the strike up resist from the armor, so she's at +2 there. She also has 5% missile res and 49% magic res, 30% increased ice damage and 15 slashing up, 10 accuracy, 13 crit hit rate, 6 crit avoid, 53 dodge flat from the armor, from the Tetrasylphlid, Esper, and Shiva card. So that's a lot of dodge, and like I said, her luck is actually pretty high. So if you have someone else holding some sort of Birth of a New Life, Secrets of the Heart card, 291 luck in there as well. So you're gonna get that luck up there pretty high, especially if you have some of these luck cards. 313 luck, because her base luck is just that high. So she's very good in some sort of dodgy, annoying team composition. That's another thing that makes her very powerful, and this is probably my favorite build for her, but she's got plenty of other builds to do. Anti-wind, and then dodgy as well. So if you're using some sort of wind character, sharpshoot, etc., she's just going to be reducing the damage by quite a lot, right? Already 5% resistant to missile, 57% wind resist. You can buff that up more if you want to with other characters and things of that nature. And you can go ahead and just you be this crazy dodgy character. 53 dodge, high luck, maneuverability, all this stuff. And then when you try to counter her with Holy, or when you try to counter her with Kill Phase Earth Holy or the Holy, she's sitting there ready to roll. 49% magic resist, 5,000 HP. She can heal herself, and you're just not going to kill her. You have to hit her multiple times in succession before she ever gets a turn. She is not the fastest character in the world, 70 agility, but you can change this out one day if you want to trade out some agility. If you guys can get there with the Hermes sandals, her evasion actually will go up one day once you can plus up the Hermes sandals a little bit here, get the +2, +3, +4. But even without that, you'll lose a little bit of evasion, but you'll gain some agility, go up to 76 agility there. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with her. I don't want to drone on her builds too much, because there's a lot of stuff you can do with her, but she's a very powerful character. She's a bulky, healing bruiser character. Don't be overlooking that lowish 636 magic stat, right? She's kind of right there. Rain has more magic than her, but she's got the 30% bonus damage from Ice Brand, and don't overlook her TMR ability, which is going to allow her to do that big burst damage. Give her the Wind Killer. It gives her like 151 more magic, so it boosts her up to almost 800 magic. And it's like 799 or 798 magic, somewhere around there, maybe 801. I don't even know. It's right around 800 plus or minus 5 magic, and that's going to allow you to get in there, hit him with the Limit Burst. You're going to have a bunch of AP stored up from casting those protects, casting those shells, casting those heals on your front line while they battle it out. She's going to have significant heals, right? And then she's going to go in there and just dump all of that AP, because her AP is going to be built up by those skills, and she's going to get that AP reduction from her limit burst to 40%. So very, very powerful thing there. And then the one skill that I did forget to go over was Magic Barrier, which is going to reduce the magic damage you take for the next 3 magic damage hits by 50%. So you put that up, right? You have this dodgy character, bruiser character. It's not the only way you can build her, but in this scenario, this dodgy bruiser character, high HP, you're like, I'm gonna hit you with holy now, I have to. You're like, okay, well, I have 50% magic resistance, I have 5,000 HP, and that also does, on top of that, another 50% reduced damage because it's the first team you with a magic spell so far, because I've been dodging everything else. So pretty cool, very anti-magic. She's good now. You can build her to be anti a lot of different things now: anti-slashing, anti-missile, anti-piercing, anti-whatever it is that you want to build her anti. High HP is insane. She's the bulkiest character that we have access to heal, and she does do really good damage, especially once you level that ice brand up. So that's going to be Fryevia. Hopefully this has opened your eyes a little bit to the strengths of these characters. We're not trying to oversell anything. These characters are both very, very, very powerful. There's a lot of powerful characters in War of the Visions. Just get what you get and level them up. If you ran into these characters, that's the TLDR on them. If you want to see more stuff like this, the build guides for the 2 characters coming out in the future and things of that nature, go ahead, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. Thank you guys for spending that time here today. We're gonna end it as quick as possible, 36 minutes in the video. And if you want to see me live or on Discord, go ahead and find those links down below. Until then, guys, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.